All right, welcome back to the channel. Got another 25 books back from CGC just today, and I've got them all here ready to be revealed. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you. And what I'm going to do today is exactly what I do every other time, and that's go through every book in the submission. We'll do the first 12 in this video, and then the next 13 will be in the next one. And I will go through, I will tell you what I've done to the book, I'll tell you what I paid for it, and what the grade I'm expecting from CGC is, and then we'll reveal it and see how we're going. So today I've got a nice mix of books and a couple of PC books as well, so I'm excited to go through it. Let's start with Amazing Spider-Man 267 Newsstand Edition. So this book, and the next few have been from the same, actually all the ASMs have been from one seller today. This was a nice book. It turned up, it just looked great, and it pressed nicely. There's a bit of spotting, I cleaned it up, and otherwise it was just in great condition. Repressed it once or twice to get it just to its best possible chance. I was genuinely expecting a 9.8 from this one. And let's hope we had the grader that we did in the last submission, because then maybe we'll get some more. So let's see what CGC gave it. 9.8. So that's a great start to the submission. Yeah, a great book, and it only cost me $9. I don't think I mentioned that already. And yeah, it's not huge value, even in newsstand. But hey, what a great start. All right, what do we got next? Another Amazing Spider-Man 270 Newsstand Edition. So I got this one from the same seller, and it only cost me $11. It had some black on the back cover on some of the green. I'll flip it in a second and show you after I show the grade. I wasn't sure if it's going to be treated as a manufacturing spray, because that was the only real issue on the book after I cleaned it up and tidied it up, got rid of any non-color breaking issues. In which case, I thought it'd be a 9.8 if they graded that as a, as a bit of overspray from the distributor or from manufacturing. So I was expecting 9.6, hoping for 9.8. Sent CGC, and they said 9.8. So that's 2 in a row. That's fantastic. So I'll show you the back. So there's a bit of, yes, there's a bit of spray there, and I just wasn't sure how it'd be graded. There's a bit of color up there, but that was pretty standard from what I saw. So I was pretty hopeful and happy to get a 9.8 on that one. So, and that one does have a little bit more value in a newsstand. Next, 271 Newsstand Edition. We're seeing a pattern yet. So this was again from the same seller, $9, including postage, shipping, everything. And there was a manufacturing issue on the front cover, bottom left. Can't see it, I didn't put another note. And on the back cover, there was a little thing missing out, but I thought they were actually just some of the edges just had some manufacturing issues. In fact, you can see in the top corner there, you can see it's just got a bit of a thing sticking out. So I had a few little things, and I wasn't sure if they were just going to be graded as just coming off the assembly line. If that was the case, and it was, then I thought there was a fair risk it would come back as a 9.6. But $9 book in a newsstand, I was happy to take the risk and see how it went. So sent it to CGC expecting a 9.6, hoping for a 9.8. And got a 9.8. So that's 3 in a row from the same seller too, which is nice. And yeah, great. So the other issues, yeah, there's issues on the corners, and you can see it there on the back as well. Just a little thing, but yeah, deemed negligible and manufacturing, I expect. So happy with that. Next up, 272 Newsstand. Yeah, so this is the origin and first appearance of Slide. I think the first one was the first appearance as well. Got this for $9 as well from the same lot. Looked great, turned up really well, nice clean book. They are my only notes. So I was expecting this to come back as a 9.8. So CGC, beautiful book. Barely touched it, fixed it up a little bit. Bit of dust there. And got a 9.8. So that's been a great run of 9.8s here with these ASMs, and that was, yeah, it's still got a little bit of value on that, which is nice. especially the newsstand. That's the main reason why. So you're happy to add that to the pile. What a great start. I think that's the best start I've had on any of my submissions so far. And this is the last ASM, oh no it's not, there's one more, ASM newsstand in this sequence from this seller. So yeah, got this one for $9, yeah, same lot, and it was a clean book. It had a bit of a stacking curl, oops, which happens, you know, when books have been sitting on top of each other for a long time, it just curls around. And a tick on the top left front cover, which should be graded negligible. It was just tiny. And there were no other issues. Sharp corners, great cover, color was beautiful. You can see the orange red. It's a really nice cover. Sent to CGC expecting a 9.8 and got 9.8. So first 5 books, 9.8 so far. So that's great. Not a hugely valuable one, this one, because it's not a first appearance like the last couple were. A beautiful book. Lovely yellow cover, back cover. All right. Next up, we've got the Amazing Spider-Man 361 newsstand. I've had this one a few times now. You know, first appearance Carnage. People love this book. I like this book. I paid $115, different seller for this one because it looked great. It turned up and it was a good copy, except there's one notable tick on the bottom staple. And it had a few little friends around it. And there was also a small crease on the front cover top right corner. It's just a tiny, you can't really even see it here. Yeah, it's, I mean micro, it is just tiny. I wasn't sure if it'd be treated as negligible, but I sent it expecting a 9.4 because of the ticks and because of the possibility of that micro crease. And yeah, it cost me a fair bit. So I think I was expecting to take a hit on this one. So I sent CGC and they said 9.6, so a little bit higher than I was expecting, which is fantastic. And so I think that means that I broke even, made a couple of dollars out of it. And we should probably check the grade out, so I just realized, because we haven't had to yet on this submission. 9.6 SM, spine stress lines. So yeah, just a couple of those stress lines here were just a bit too much for them, and that's fine. I was expecting 9.4, so happy to get 9.6. Next, Batman 263 from 1975. I love this cover, you know, the Riddler and Batman, and yeah, it's a great cover, bit of a fun cover. So paid $102 for this one, so a fair bit, from a trusted seller. I thought it looked immaculate, except there were a couple of ticks near the top staple, and they weren't really in the negligible tiny range. So I thought they were going to impact it down to from there. The back cover, there was a small crease near the top staple going up and down, but it was quite hard to see, and I thought that would get graded negligible. So I was expecting 9.4 for this just because of those little issues. Otherwise, a beautiful book. I mean, the corners are sharp. It's, you know, it's as old as I am, and it's just, yeah, in better condition than I am. So CGC expecting a 9.4 and received 9.6. So a nice little bump again. Yes, I ended up making a bit of money on that one, which is good. And yeah, it's just so sharp. Like, it's a book that's this old and the corners are just sharp and immaculate. Just a great book. Next up, we have Daredevil 145 UK variant. So this is the only reason I submitted this book in this grade, because I received it, only cost me $10. Had a lot of ticks. I knew it had some issues. Slightly soft edges, you know, sort of the spine. It needed a bit of foxing removed, which I did. I don't think I took any photos of it. It was cleaning up nicely. Oh yeah, and then I dog-eared it. I was changing my process, I remember that. I was changing my process around how I was doing the pressing and the humidification, and ended up accidentally putting a small little crease on the back cover of this one, which is disappointing. So I thought basically around an 8.0. You know, I had a number of issues, some wear, there was a bit of gloss missing, and you know, around where the foxing was on the back, and all the spine ticks. I thought it would come back as a VF 8.0, and I'd be happy with that because the UK variant, they're a bit rarer. So CGC expecting an 8.0. and received an 8.5. So not too bad, a little bit of a bump. Let's check the grader notes on that one. So they said crease top of the cover, which there's a little one. Crease right center of front cover, which there was a little one. Spine stress lines, and a crease on the left top of the back cover, which is the one that I did. You won't be able to see it very well, but it is I just did put a little dog ear on it. Otherwise, a great looking copy, and still in VF Plus UK variant. So yeah, happy with that. Far from perfect and still learning. So next up, we've got another familiar book. If you've watched my previous shows, you'll know that I have had some great success with this book. This was obviously Daredevil 158, Frank Miller's first professionally published work, and just an amazing cover, no matter which way you dice it. Cost me $80, a fair bit. So this was from a seller that I've ended up not buying more things from, because it just arrived with more damage than was advertised, and it should have been made clear. Because it had creases on the top right and top left corners. The overhang had caused some small tears. There was some foxing on the inside, which I was able to remove. There's the back cover had a small tear on the edge. A number of issues, on and on and on. You know, a few ticks and bits and pieces. I worked the book to try and maximize it, though. You know, that book, you know, deserves. They all deserve respect and effort. So I've given this book its best life, and I think it was probably a 7.5 is what I was thinking, just because of the creases and the multitude of little issues and the overhang and the small tears. The small tears are good because if they're tiny enough, they press out and they're not really obvious, or certainly don't detract from the visibility of the book. Yeah, so I sent to CGC expecting a 7.5 and received 8.5 white pages. So I'm really happy with that. You know, it's a fantastic book, and it presents beautifully, like, make no mistake, it's a beautiful looking book. It's just, you know, a few little light creases that, you know, with cleaning and pressing can pretty much be made to almost not be there, from a visible perspective anyway. So that's great. Happy to get a couple of bumps on that. And I think I made some money on that one. No, but recouped most of my money. That's good. All right, so Daredevil 201, newsstand edition. Black Widow appearance. The only issue with this book was, as you can see, there's a bit of transfer on the front. And the back cover had some bends and ticks, which I fixed up, and they were a little bit stubborn. The front cover had a bit of a slightly soft corner, but the main issue was really just that ink transfer there on the cover. I thought it was going to come back in a 9.6 to 9.8 range when I was done with it. And the interesting thing about this one, there weren't any end sales, so as in newsstand sales. So I wasn't sure what to expect. Seen a CGC expecting 9.6 to 9.8 and received a 9.6. And I think that's right. And let's look at the grader notes. Very light spine stress lines. Yeah, okay. They probably were there. It's just with the white line down the spine. It's a weird one. And there's a transfer stain on the top of the front cover. So we can see that pretty clearly. So yeah, otherwise pretty good. All right, moving on to Donatello. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle #1 from 1986, obviously not from the 1984 series, but this is just his micro book. Interestingly, you can see that even though it's Donatello, he's got a red bandana on. This was before the Turtles went to TV in a heavy way, and they were advised to change the bandanas on the Turtles so they could be more easily differentiated other than the way they spoke and the weapons they happened to be holding at the time. And I think that was a good move, and we all know the different colours on, you know, blue, purple, everything on the Turtles. But yeah, so it's Donatello with a red bandana on. So I received this from a relatively trusted buyer, $32. It looked nice and clean, had a couple of ticks on the back, which I thought might push it down to 9.6, and hoped it wasn't going to be 9.4, just because they were a little bit on the heavier side. And I think unless it came back with some obvious issues, this is going into the PC. So yeah, sent to CGC expecting a 9.6 and received a 9.8. I'm really happy about that. Really happy about that. So this book is going to my nephew, who's only turning 3 in February, so it'll be his Christmas present. So I think he'll love that, and we'll hang it up in his room, and I'll give him a reader copy, and he'll be excited to have that. So that's a great outcome, and it's worth a bit of money as well, but that doesn't matter because it's going to be a gift. So yeah, beautiful. All right, last book in the first part of the submission, Fantastic Four 286 Newsstand Edition. This one came from a trusted seller, cost me $10, and it had a tick on the front cover, bottom left from a crunch. So it had a bit of a crunch, and I fixed up the bends, tidied up the tick, and I thought it was the only thing that was going to be wrong with the book. Otherwise, everything else, the corners just look great. The rest of the spine looked great. And I thought that I'd done a good enough job on it that I can't even see it there. That would be graded negligible. So yeah, I actually sent it to CGC expecting a 9.6 to 9.8 and received a 9.8. Wow! So what a great finish to the submission. Yeah, overall, I was definitely expecting a few 9.8s. Got more than I was hoping for, which is brilliant. Yeah, not much to say except for this submission other than that. The running profit and loss will be on the screen right now, and what I'm going to do is I'll pack all this up. I'll get ready for the second part of the submission, and I'll record that soon and hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.